Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Build Your Copywriting Business podcast. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. As always, I am joined by my fabulous co-host, Kate Sitars. Hello, Kate.
Hello, hello.
And we have the pleasure today of being joined by CCA student and copywriter extraordinaire on almost her copywriting anniversary. We're chatting with Courtney Cherry. Hey, Courtney.
Hi, guys. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. So happy to be here. Very much looking forward to chatting with you.
Oh, thank you for being here. And as we were just saying before before we get started recording, you are right, just almost at your 1 year anniversary. What was the exact date you started?
March 23rd, 2022.
23rd. That's so exciting. Yeah. What got you to start? What got you interested in copyright? I'm just dig right in. Oh my
goodness. So I'm a writer by nature. I mean, even as a kid, like I would be in my room, I would write fictional stories. Like writing is just my thing. It's like the thing that I was given. And so, I've just always kind of dabbled in it. I wrote for the newspaper in high school. I grew up in the 90s hip hop era. So I used to want to like write for those magazines. Like that was my jam. And, ended up going to school, and I actually got a degree in sociology, and I built a career in government. So I worked for the government for like 15 years. I worked specifically in the welfare, social services arena, started as a worker, worked my way up, went through the ranks, got into management, and I had quote unquote made it, right? I had this, almost 6-figure job, the retirement, the benefits, all the things, everything that I was like really raised to do. But something kept tugging at my heart. Like, I just don't know if I can do this for 30 years. Like, I don't know, but kept at it, right? Because it was, I have a kid and it's taking care of the bills and life is good. I got an opportunity in like 2013. So I started my career really young, right out of college. And around 2013, I got an opportunity to be a music journalist. And it was like an internship thing, but it was so cool. And I was actually interviewing, like if you're into hip hop and R&B, I've interviewed some Grammy award winning, very big names. You can still Google my YouTube videos today. It's up there. It was a really cool experience. And from that, I started writing articles for the music magazine, and then I would write bios for the artists. So that's kind of how I started to and they would pay me like $100, and I would write them. And then from there, I started writing for like brands and doing about pages. Really, I had no idea first off what a copywriter was, that was what I was doing, that you could actually like have a viable career at this. But I knew I had this talent for writing. The artists love my bios. The people that I would do about pages for, they really like my work. Fast forward, because again, I've got this kid in the entertainment world. You're out a lot at night. He was really young back then. And I'm like, look, I got to be a mom. And then I have this growing career that at the time, I'm like, I want to stay focused on this. So put that down, put the magazine down. Fast forward, it's almost been a decade since I did that with the magazine. So pandemic comes, okay? And they shut down school, and I didn't even know you could do that. I'm like, what do you mean school is shut down? Like, what are we supposed to do with these kids? And so when school shut down, he was in the 4th grade. Now remember, I'm working in government, and that is like, we were the economic nurses, right? So work was crazy for me. Like I still had to go to the office. It was a whole thing. We were scrambling. So get through the pandemic. Finally, the kids go back to school. So when he stopped going to school, he was in the 4th grade. He goes back to school, and now he's in middle school. 6th grade has hit. We're in middle school. 7 different teachers, all these different classes, all of the social elements that come along with middle school, on top of these kids having been cooped up because of the pandemic. So sixth grade was wild. My son was struggling. We were having challenges on all levels, and it kept taking me away from work. Simultaneously, it changed what I was doing, because by that time I had worked my way into management, and I was running this program for people who were on aid. We got them a job at the Goodwill, the Goodwill Industries. And so I was working with people and happy to be doing that because I'm a people person, but the pandemic shut all that down. And so now I'm just like doing data entry, and you want to kill me slowly, have me do data entry. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. Reports, data entry. I was in this cubicle, and something just, my spirit kept saying, I have to get out of here. I have to get out of here. I need to be at home with my son. Something has to give. It was almost like this feeling, you know how like when you have to throw up, but you don't want to, you're like, oh my God, I know, you're going to feel better when you do it, but you just don't want to, you're avoiding it. Well, that was the feeling I kept having going to work every day. And one day I just finally threw up. I said, you know what? I put in my resignation, kind of figured some stuff out behind the scenes, and just knew that I would be okay, that I had skills, that I had things going for myself, and I would figure this out. So when I quit my job on my last day, October 29th of 2021, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I had a little safety net of money, so I was able to kind of like chill for a little bit. But I joined a coaching program because I'm like, okay, well, I got to figure out something. I have to start a business. And through this coach, she was like, Courtney, you're a writer, you're a storyteller, you can be a copywriter. I was like, well, what? Tell me more about this copywriting thing. Like, what do you mean? And copywriting wasn't necessarily her niche, but she worked with copywriters and like helped them to create a business. And one of the copywriters in that program must be a former CCA student, because she was who recommended me to connect with your program. She was like 10 out of 10, best program I've ever done, because I knew that again, I'm a writer by nature. So I knew that I had skill, but I needed to know what it really meant to be a copywriter. I'll never forget. I did that first module, features versus benefits. I was like, oh, I got this. I'm on my way. Features versus benefits. I get that. Like, that makes so much sense. And really from there, I just started finding people I could write for. And literally, when I would book a job, I'd go into the CCA. Okay, let me see, like email. Okay, yep. Okay, take that course. Let me figure that out. I didn't wait to until I have this. And yeah, I had kind of previously built a website. I'm kind of skipping that part of the story. So I had that a little bit, but certainly through the different, the calls and seeing people's reviews in the Facebook group, I was like, okay, so I would work on my website, but I just was out there finding people who I could write for and would use the CCA to help me figure out the assignment, right? And to do a good job at it. And that's really how I got started. And it's grown like wildfire from there. I can't even believe my life. A year later from joining the CCA and 15 months from quitting my government job.
That's amazing. Well, so can you, what is your life now? What does your day look like? What are your, your before and after? Where are you living now?
So before, I was single mom, got to get up, take the kid to the before school program or drop him off at school, get in the traffic, for the most part, I would have a reverse commute, but then we switched offices. So when I was going, it was all over the place, right? Like, I'm leaving the house by 7 in the morning and I'm not home till 6 or 7 at night. And it was a lot. But you know what? It's what most people do every day, right? Now, my days. So a typical morning for me, obviously got to get up, take the kiddo to school, but then I'll go work out, I'll go for a walk. I come back, I may have a client meeting that morning, or maybe I'm working on something. I recently booked a retainer client. They're a social media marketing agency. And so I do a lot of work for them. So there's constantly projects coming through there. So my morning starts slow, like how I like it to. There's not this mad dash in the morning. And then my day, it just depends. The other day I picked my kid up from school. They get out of school at like 1 o'clock on a Wednesday, which I'm like, why are they getting out of school at 1 o'clock? Like, are you for real? But we went to Chick-fil-A, and then we went and test drove a car because I've been thinking about new cars. And then we went and had Froyo. He plays basketball. I can go to his games at 3:30 in the afternoon. And it's like, I'm not asking anyone, can I attend? And I tell you, like, I live life on my terms now. And I am still trying to come off this cloud of like, this is really my life, because it's so vastly different. I'm at peace. There's not as much stress. Anything my son needs, I can attend to it. I have autonomy over my day, over my schedule. It's 10 out of 10 experience. I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. It's been amazing.
Good for you. I love that. And I want to underscore something you said earlier. I love that you just started getting out there and pitching clients and working on my portfolio on the side. But I feel like so many CCA students, that's such a roadblock of like, I have to do this, or I have to do this, or where do I even just go for it? I love that you just did, which is incredible.
Two things that I believe, Nikki, you said in trainings or somewhere I heard you say it, and it really stuck with me. So number one is, and I actually have this, I'm looking at the sticky on my computer. You don't get through self-doubt before taking action. Mm-hmm. You get through it by taking the action, right? So like, I felt all this stuff come up for me. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm new at this. All of the feels, I just kind of kept doing it anyway. And the other thing you said was, there is more copy to be written in this world than there are people who can write it. And I tell you, I meet these clients and they're not super experts. They're like, look, I don't really know writing like that. I don't have time for this. I want something that sounds good. I want something that speaks to my clients. And I'm telling you, that benefits versus features foundation, like that's it. Like you can really get started if you just get that concept down, get the brand voice down. That foundational module, that really is it's a perfect thing, because it's your foundation. If you can get those concepts clear, you can start making money as a copywriter, and all of the other pieces will come, they'll fall into place. But once you start writing for one client, it's like, okay, like you start to get, some traction and some groove. And I mean, I would say that I started in March. I booked a 4-figure client by May, so it's possible, and people, people will book you, but again, it's the mindset and the confidence, but you just got to be prepared for the self-doubt to come and work through it. But I see that so much in the Facebook group, and I don't ever want to discourage anybody, but I really just want to shake folks and be like, just get started. There's somebody that you can write for. Somebody out there has a project. They will pay you to do it, even if it's just a couple $100 at first.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, absolutely. I'm really, really glad that you shared that, because I think that some people would hear, well, she dug in and she just found clients right away. And that's just, for her, it's different. She didn't have any self-doubt. And I'm so, so grateful that you shared that, because you can be a huge success story like you are, and you can still feel that self-doubt, and you can take the action anyway and get the results even while you're feeling that self-doubt. So thank you for sharing that element. Yeah.
You're welcome. The CCA is so chock full of, it's everything you need. It really is. It is. I tell you, like I said, I would literally book the, I remember, in fact, when I booked my 4-figure client, I watched, I think it was the closing video, or there was like, how you basically do the call and, kind of how you pitch yourself and the sale and all of that. I literally watched that video, and then I booked him, and I was like, wow, this stuff really does work. So, it's everything you could need. It's everything you could need. And I'm so grateful for the two of you, because my world has changed because of the CCA.
Oh, well, the world has changed because you took action.
You did the work.
Thank you for letting us be a part of it. Yeah.
And I love too I'm going to book a client, and then I'm going to go watch the course, because I know I can write. And I think that's the key. If features versus benefits to everyone, like another point, just rewatch this whole episode. I feel like this is everything you're saying is just so smart, that like, you don't need to know how to watch the Write for Videos course before you write a video. You need to know, the fundamentals, of course, but then when you book that specific thing, go back and watch the course.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. And I really adopted this mindset that if they can do it, I can do it. I would seek out, I would go through the Facebook group and look for people's testimonies and their stories of success and things that they've done. And I'm like, okay, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. That really, I adopted that mantra wholeheartedly, and it really has paid off. I have surpassed my 9-to-5 income. Last month was my highest grossing month. I'm like this close to 10K. I can't even believe this is my life. I really can't. And yeah, I mean, my advice to anyone listening to this is to just go for it. Just find a few people that you can just start writing for. And I will say too, because again, going through the CCA, you learn that like copy is a thing. It's its own thing, right? There's content writing, there's other types of writing, but copy is a thing. But like social media posts, it's like a real easy place to start. It's a super like low hanging fruit. I hate to say it that way because it's still, I mean, I make quite a bit of money off all the social media posts I write every month. But it's a great way to get started, and it's not a lot of copy. And there's calls to action in there, and there's features and benefits and hooks and headlines and all of the things that we learn. So that's a great way for people to get started too, I would say.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm curious, as much as you can share with your clients, what kinds of projects are you working on? What are you most excited about? Do you have favorite mediums to write in, favorite voices? What's the mix like?
So through this agency that I do retainer work for, there's a variety of clients. So it's really cool. Like I had a meeting this morning with the dental office, and they're like a high-end dental office. So it's, it's a very great, luxury medium to write for. I just recently did a website for a Reiki healer. And that was really cool. I really love the healing space. And that's definitely a different tone and medium and kind of brand voice. So I really like that. I've had some really unique projects too. So like I've done the websites, I've done the emails, social media posts, but like I recently did a GoFundMe page for someone, which was really cool. I helped someone with their pitch deck. So they had an idea that they're trying to bring to life, and I helped them with that. So I really had a variety of stuff. Definitely love this. I love anything that I can really be creative. I'm not big on like the tech or finance. That's not really my jam. Definitely anything where, I can be creative. I love personal development. I write for a lot of coaches, business coaches, things like that. So yeah, I've really had a mixed bag, but it's so fun. It really is. It's very fun.
I love that. And I want to underscore this for people as well, because I think people think finance, tech, that's where the 4-figure projects are. No. You've had 4-figure projects outside of those industries. Yeah.
I sure have. Absolutely. No, it's, again, there's no truer statement than there is more copy that needs to be written than people who are able to write it. So it's out there. And I think, again, believing in yourself, working on your mindset, working on your thoughts around money. You guys did an episode where you had like an expert come on and you talked about that. Money beliefs is everything. It really is, because clients are all around, and you just never know, like, people have the money. If you have the value, they have the budget for it. It's really just about expressing that value. And I think people, they know confidence, right? Like they can kind of tell when you're like solid in what you can offer. So I think that's another thing that's been really helpful. I've also really tapped into the like in-person networking now that we're kind of doing that, and I live in an area that kind of allows for that. That's been a really big game changer for me, because you meet people, and I've had clients that kind of got third hand from somebody that met me somewhere, and they heard about me. So yeah, I mean, I pinch myself in the morning. I can't believe this is my life still. There's something about, and I don't know, I haven't really heard people talk about this, but when you've had a 9-to-5 for such a long time, and you've always worked for someone and always been told what to do and told when things need to be done, and there's discipline that can take place if you don't follow certain rules. So to have this level of autonomy, it's been a bit of a shock to my nervous system, but I'm definitely like, it's going to be okay. Like, nobody's over your shoulder. Like, you got this, it's okay. So yeah, it's been really good.
That's fantastic. I'm just listening to everything. I'm like,
I
oh,
know.
this is gold. I hope people save this episode. I hope they go back and listen to it again and again and again.
Yeah.
This is
When you're
really,
feeling
really
down,
fantastic.
listen to
Yes,
Courtney.
Yes.
yes. No, really, because I'm such a regular girl. Like really, I mean, I even think about my life before copywriting. I mean, there was at one point in my life, I was working 7 days a week. So I was working for the county, and then I would Uber on the weekends. You know, you can make a lot of money Ubering in the Bay Area. And so like 7 days, raising a kid, working 7 days a week, like moonlighting in the evenings and the weekends, you know, I've waitressed, like all kind of stuff. And I now have one job, one income, and it takes care of everything and then some. And I have the peace. I have so much peace. And I mean, I'm a degular person. I really want, because you hear this, right? Especially when you're just getting started and, you know, you haven't really had a lot of success yet. I was that girl 10 months ago. I think I was sharing with you guys how full circle this is for me, because I would binge these episodes and be like, wow, gosh, okay, like, that's possible for them. Like, okay, like it can happen for me too. And it really, it can happen. You just I think people really get hung up on trying to do it perfect. Just do it. You will learn. I mean, I remember I had a client, I'll be very transparent. I had one of my very first clients. I wrote the copy and she liked it. And she was like, you know, these commas, can you just like look at this again? Because like, you know, I'm not the grammar. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it had me end up using the Grammarly tool. So now I have that as a tool that I use to edit my stuff. So you will learn from mistakes that you make, you know, balls that you drop. I think, you know, own it and just learn from it. Never miss a deadline. Like that's my hard and fast rule. Like if you say that you're going to have a draft for them at that time, like have it done. Give yourself enough time to, I would say, like I have to sleep on my work. So I have to like do it, get it done, sleep on it. And then every time I find something, every time, it never fails. And I could have edited that thing and gone through it. I will always find something when I sleep on my work and go back to it the next day before submitting it. So those are my little gems.
Oh, they're so good. It's all so good. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and it reminds me of something else too. I've learned so much from you guys. Like I need you to know how much I have learned, because there was an episode, and I think Kate, it was you. It was about like jobs, like having a job at an agency versus like being a freelancer. What's better? And the conversation was something around, you know, a lot of companies will take you on as a freelancer, so don't feel like, you know, you have to like take this job. But in that episode, I believe you talked about how if you do work for a client, or if you do something for them and you see things, you see other work, you see other areas where you could make a difference, speak up. That's literally how I landed this retainer. And this is a good, decent sized retainer that I get paid every month from this one client. And it was just because I spoke up. I initially started by just writing social media captions for like a couple of her clients. And I noticed a couple things, and I was like, hey, you know, I noticed that they have this going on, or there's that going on. And she was like, do you want to come? And like, you know, how can I get you to come work for me regularly? Because she said, I've worked with hundreds of contractors. They have never cared enough to say something. They've never cared enough. And I was like, I'm like, these things are blaringly, like it's blaring me in my face when I look at their website. I was like, so how did people not think to say anything? So that piece of advice is how I ended up with my large retainer, by just speaking up and saying something. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities. They're all over the place. They are all over the place. Be open, and just be willing to just go for it. You never know how things are going to turn out.
So true. Good for you. Oh man.
Again, just knowing that you guys have had like decades of a career doing this and doing it freelance, right? Because like my parents they don't get it. My
Either.
mom is super supportive. My dad doesn't even want to talk about it. Okay. And when you've been ingrained, my dad government worker, my sisters, we all work for the government. So it was just ingrained in me to be this way. And when you go against the grain, oh my God, so much fear, so much self-doubt, so much waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like I constantly have to remind myself, you're okay. Like, you're okay. You're okay. It's going to be okay.
Well, I love what you said about quitting your job. You were like, I have the skills. I know I have the skills. And now especially like you have a system for finding clients. And so I'm curious if you have an idea of kind of what's next over the coming years, if you're good right now and you're just enjoying it, or if you're kind of thinking, I might have some.
Yeah. So a couple of things. So I just became an S Corp. I'm incorporated now, which is actually pretty cool. And I did it for tax purposes. Check with your tax person, please. I am not a tax expert by any means, but it's kind of cool to be like, to have that INC after my business name. Right now, so I'm a big proponent of my freedom. My freedom is so important to me. And I love that copywriting allows me to work from anywhere. I mean, literally, I've done work like at a hotel lobby, which is another suggestion I got from you ladies. Listen to the podcast. I have dreams of being on the beach, So I don't know, there's agency, there's all kind of things. I think for me, you know what, if I'm being honest, my ideal life would be for me to be working like about 6 months out of the year and, make enough money that's all that I really need to do. Cause I want to get my kid through high school. He's only 13. So I've got a few more years of like doing the day-to-day mom stuff. And that's really where I am right now. And just constantly kind of building, the constant work, because that's another thing, right? You can't get so busy that you stop trying to get new work coming in as you're working on the current stuff. So that's always, an ebb and flow. But I'm just so excited and so like just in awe of all that I've accomplished in like a really short amount of time. That I'm really trying not to just project too far into the future, just keep the good times coming and, make smart moves as far as, my money and all of that. And I can't wait to see what the universe has in store for me, to be honest with you.
Us either. Good for
you.
I
was just about to say, and truly, I'm thrilled for you. And I'm thrilled also that you are taking the time to appreciate like what you've done. Because that it truly is, it's a big deal and it's really amazing. Good for you and congratulations. And it's fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, so much. If you are thinking about joining the CCA, if you're listening to this, do it. Just do it. It's reasonably priced. It's a great community. I mean, the people on the Facebook group are just people. They're fantastic. They are fantastic. They're from all over the world, all different demographics, every level of diversity that you can think of is in the CCA. And I mean, you really couldn't have given it a better name because it is truly comprehensive. It's everything you need. And then you have the podcast and that's another thing I want to say too, before we go, book a call. Like if I could do this all over again, and I did book a call, maybe a few months down the line, but like listen to the foundational modules, go out and start finding people that you can do writing for, and book a call, book a one-on-one call with a coach. Again, reasonably priced. You can get your questions answered. It's all about you. It's laser focused. Do that because you'll just grow and you'll compress the amount of time, that you spend. Is this good enough? And do I need to get with the designer? And do I need to figure this out? Like all of those components are important. But, I guess for me, because like my back was up against the wall a little bit, like I've got a kid, I quit my job, like I've got to keep this rolling. So I just went for it. But that would be my suggestion for any and everybody. Just start writing, better to make a couple $100 than spend an indecision for free. Right.
Such good advice.
I love that. If someone is listening to this and they're thinking, oh my gosh, Courtney's amazing. And they obviously will be thinking, oh my gosh, Courtney's amazing. How can I find out more about her? How can I hire her? What is the best way to find you?
So my website is www.writingsbycherry.com. So that's the name of my business, Writings by Cherry. I am the cherry on top to your marketing strategy. So you can find me there. I have intentions on getting better with social media. I do have an IG, Writings by Cherry. I am on LinkedIn, but I mean, face it, I think another big misconception that I just want to quell before we get out of here is you don't have to be all over social media. You don't. I have not posted since October. Like, please, oh my God, I'm like wearing the coat of shame, but you really don't. And you'll find that like the ball starts rolling and you're just busy and you're like, social media is the last thing on my mind. So, but I am on social media and I do want to start creating more content there. So Writings by Cherry on IG and Courtney Cherry on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well, now you're making money. You can outsource somebody to help you with your social media posts. And just saying. There you
go. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, this is such a great episode. I really think this is a keeper, meaning hit that little save button, everybody, because this is something you should listen to regularly. So Courtney, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your journey, and all of your wisdom as well. So deeply appreciate it. Yeah. And you're welcome. With that, we will catch you all in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Like what you heard? Hit subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're ready to take the first step toward becoming a copywriter yourself, sign up for a free video training right here.